Hello children, today we are going to study the first lesson in English literature for class 7, and the name of the lesson is The Three Questions by Leo Tolstoy. Before beginning with the lesson, let's know something about the author. So Leo Tolstoy was a Russian author, a renowned one. He was an expert in realistic fiction. He used to write stories which are not real. He was expert in writing such stories. He was also one of the world's greatest novelists. So now let's come to the lesson. Let me tell you the story in short. The story is about a king who wanted to get the answers to the three questions. He felt that if he could get the answers to the three questions, he would be successful in his life. So he went to various people, he consulted various wise men, but he did not get a satisfactory answer. Finally, he goes to a hermit to get the answers, and he gets those answers which makes him feel contented, satisfied. So now let's come to the lesson. Once upon a time, there was a king who believed that he would be successful if he knew the answers to three questions. So what were those three questions? The first question: what was the right time to begin something? So he wanted to know the answer of what was the right time to begin something. The second question: who were the right people to listen to? And thirdly, what was the most important thing to do? So these three questions, he wanted the answers. So he announced that a great reward would be given to anyone who would satisfactorily answer these questions. So all the wise men came to the king, but they all gave different answers. In reply to the first question, what was the first question? What was the right time to begin something? Some said that to know the right time for every action, one must draw in advance a table of days, months, and years, and must live strictly according to it. Others said that it was impossible to decide beforehand. Beforehand means earlier. The right time for every action. Hence, one should always do one's duty instead of wasting time in idleness. That means being idle, lazy. Others again said that the king should have a council of wise men. Now, what's a council? Council is a group of people chosen to give advice to the king. They are considered to be wise men who would help him fix the proper time for anything. Answers to the second question. So what was the second question? Who were the right people to listen to? So what answers did he get? Some said that the counselors. Who are the counselors? The group of the councils. So these people, they are the members of the council. So some said that the counselors were the most important people. Some told the priest. Some told the doctors. While some said the warriors were the most necessary. Warriors are those people who fight in the war. So these answers he got for the second question. Now for the third question, what was the most important thing to do? So to the third question, what was the most important occupation? Some replied that the most important thing in the world was science. Others said it was a skill in warfare. You know what's the skill in warfare? Warfare means an activity of fighting a war. So some gave this answer also. And others said that it was religious worship. All the answers were so different that the king could agree with none. of them and gave the reward also to nobody. But he still wished to find the right answers to his questions. He decided to consult a hermit. Now, who is a hermit? A hermit is a person who, for religious reasons, lives a very simple life alone, lonely, basically in the forest. So the king thinks about going to the hermit to get the answers to these three questions. The king put on simple clothes because the hermit would allow only common folks, common people to meet him. He got off his horse, leaving his bodyguard behind, went on alone. The hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. Seeing the king, he greeted him, welcomed him, and went on digging. The hermit was frail. Frail means weak. Each time he stuck his spade into the ground and turned a little earth, he breathed heavily. The king went up to him and said, "I have come to you, wise hermit, with three questions. How can I learn to do the right thing at the right time? Who are the people I need the most? And what work is the most important and needs my attention first?" The hermit listened to the king, but answered nothing and started digging again. "You are tired," said the king. "Let me take the spade and work a while for you, the digging work." "Thank you," said the hermit. Giving the spade to the king, he sat down on the ground. An hour passed, and then another. The sun began to sink behind the trees, and the king at last stuck the spade into the ground and said, "I came to you, wise man, for an answer to my questions. If you can give me none, tell me so. I will return home." "Here comes someone running," said the hermit. "Let us see who it is." The king turned around and saw a man running out of the forest. There was blood flowing from a wound on his leg. When he reached the king, he fell on the ground, moaning feebly, weakly, crying. The king washed the wound as best he could and bandaged it with his handkerchief and with a towel of the hermit. When at last the man felt better, the king brought fresh water and gave it to him. Meanwhile, the sun had set and it had become cool. So the king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. Lying on the bed, the man closed his eyes and was quiet. The king was so tired from his walk and the work he had done that he crouched down. Now, you know what's crouching down? Crouching down means sit in a position with the body close to the ground and the feet bent, the legs bent. So he crouched down on the threshold. Threshold means the entrance of the room or the house. Got? Threshold is the entrance to the building or a room. So there. And he fell asleep. When he woke up in the morning, he found that the wounded stranger was staring intently, looking at him intently. Now what's intently? With keen interest and attention. Who was looking? The wounded person. At whom? At the king. "Forgive me," said the man in a weak voice. When he saw the king was awake and was looking at him. "I do not know you and have nothing to forgive you. For," said the king, because the king was innocent. He did not know. You do not know me, but I know you. I am an enemy of yours who swore to revenge himself on you, harm you, and as you wrongly took away my property. I knew you had gone alone to the hermit and planned to ambush you. Now, you know what's ambush? Ambush means an act of hiding and waiting for somebody, then making a surprise attack. So, the wounded person had planned to ambush the king, kill him on your way back. But you did not return. So I came out to find you. Your bodyguard recognized me. As I ran away, I fell and I was wounded. I should have bled to death if you had not nursed me. I wished to harm you, and you have saved my life. Now, if I live, and if you wish it, I will serve you most faithfully. So please forgive me. The king was happy to have made peace with his enemy. He not only forgave him, but said he would send his own physician. Physician means doctor. To treat him and promised to restore his property, give his property to him. Then the king went out and looked around for the hermit. He wished once more to beg an answer to his questions before leaving. The hermit was outside, sowing seeds in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king approached him and said, "For the last time, I pray you to answer my questions. Wise man, you have already been answered," said the hermit. "How answered? What do you mean?" asked the king. "Do you not see," replied the hermit, "if you had not pitied my weakness yesterday and had not stayed back to dig those beds for me, you would have been attacked by that man on your way back. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds. I was the most important person. To do me good was your most important business. Afterwards, when that man ran to us, the most important time was when you were attending to him. That means you were taking care of this wounded man. If you had not bound up his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. So he was the most important person, and what you did for him was your most important work. Remember that there is only one time that is right. What is that time which is right? Now, the present time. It is the most important time because it is the only time when we have any power to do anything. Because today we are there, we know what we can do. So we can do anything today itself. The most important person is the one with whom you are at a particular moment. No one knows whether you will ever meet anyone else in future. The most important thing to do is to do good to others, because for that purpose alone we are sent into this life. With this we come to the end of this lesson. Now, what is the theme which we can extract from this lesson? Theme of forgiveness, forgiving others. Theme of wisdom, knowledge. We also get to know that the most important time in our life is the present time. So we should utilize it to the maximum, because the past is already over and the future is uncertain. I hope you have understood this lesson. With this, I will end my video.